calls for action, and now, nip it in the bud.
Michelle Pfeiffer? The only true Catwoman is Julie Newmar, Lee Merriweather, or Eartha Kitt. And I didn't need molded plastic to improve my physique. Pure West.
Good morning, angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
I love it when a plan comes together.
It's time. Let's talk about music, movies, and mostly television from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff.
Hello, happy Sunday to everyone. My name is Dave Sundstrom, and if you enjoyed talking about music, movies, and mostly TV from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, well, you found the right place. So for those folks who haven't joined me on a weekend live stream before, it's usually a little different than what I do on my Wednesday live streams. This is going to be more low-key. I'm not going to have any guests like I normally do during my midweek live stream, but I'm going to do my very best to answer everybody's questions, and I'll share a few videos and a bunch of fun things like that. But more than anything else, I want to interact with all of you. So I'm taking a peek, and it looks like the chat has been going for quite a while. As a matter of fact, so long that I actually can't see the beginning of the chat, but I see Mike Silva in the chat. It does look like he may have had to take off a little while ago, but it was great to have you while you were here, Mike. As always, it's a pleasure to see you both in the chat as well as in the comment section. Super fan Lance Chafin is here with us, and ElfDog100 is here. He said, last night I saw the Cowsills in a Time Life infomercial from the late 60s or early 70s radio music called AM Gold. Any others seen it? I think I've seen that infomercial. The Cowsills, of course, are great. Hey, Lance, superfan Lance Chafin, good to have you here. Mike Silva said, if the force has awakened, it's already back to sleep. All right, let's see. Yes, Lance correctly points out that the Cowsills were the inspiration for the Partridge Family. So welcome, Mike, Lance, and ElfDog100. Let's see who else is here. I'm going to start scrolling through the chat. We've got Crominion and my friend Justin Eilert, also known as Justin Cognito. Good to have you with us on the live stream. I'm going to keep working through this chat because I see superfan Tracy Roth Myers in the house. Great to have you here for a Sunday afternoon chat, Tracy. And I've got to point out Justin. I worked at Kmart for a number of years as well. And yeah, they had that music going, and I didn't mind it at all. I kind of got used to hearing that, and I didn't mind the kind of mellow interpretations of what were then today's pop hits. All right, Superplex is in the house. Welcome. Good to have you here on the stream today. Let's see who else is here. Blues Rider is asking, how is Tony Dow? Tony Dow is on the mend. The last I saw on his Facebook page, it seems like he's getting better every day. He had a bit of a scare in that he developed pneumonia. From what I understand, and I can't remember where I read this, so take it with a grain of salt. Could be my imagination, but it took him a while to get in the hospital. He needed to be admitted, and of course, with everything going on, there wasn't a bed for him originally. At least that's the way I remember reading it. When I was making the video on Tony Dow the other day, I couldn't find the article that I thought I had read to corroborate that, but I'll share it here. Took him a minute to get into a hospital bed, and then he was there for a handful of days, 5 or 6 days, I believe, before he was discharged. He had a terrible cough, and the cough persists, but it's getting better every single day. So that's the Tony Dow update. Thanks for asking, Blues Rider. Let's see who else is here. Dave Thomas, always good to have you on the live stream. And yeah, there's Mike saying he had to take off. All right. Going to a restaurant with his group home. Awesome. Love that. Never a bad thing to do when you are, going out to eat. One of my favorite things to do. Scrolling through, see lots of chat between the super fans. Oh, there's the Daily Dan blog. Danny Staten enjoyed your Alice Cooper comic book review, Danny, on your Daily Dan blog the other day. It's great. And I noticed you've started to do some shorts. Very cool. Let's see what else we've got. I spent yesterday evening visiting with Justin Eilert, also known as Justin Cognito, and we spent time talking about replacement singers in famous rock bands. And look for that video to hit my retro music channel in the not too distant future. I'm seeing more people starting to arrive. Let's see, Pika23, welcome. Good to have you with us. And Son of a Red Shirt, I am having a bat-tastic day, Son of a Red Shirt. For those folks who don't know, today is Batman Day, September 19th. Happens to be Adam West's birthday. He was born in 1928, passed away a few years ago. But it's also Batman Day. And there's a day in September every year when they celebrate, the creation of this wonderful comic book character. And today is the day. And in the spirit of honoring the Caped Crusader, I've got a little something that I'll share with you all now.
Now at Penny's, authentic Batman toys and games, new and exciting. Wow! Batman and Robin color portrait, $1. Batman periscope, 77 cents. Batman doll, only $9.98. Batman horn, 77 cents. Batman card game, exciting fun for $1.19. Batman game by Milton Bradley, only $2.66. Batman and Robin button, 33 cents. Authentic cape and mask, 99 cents a set. Batman belt, only $1, and a wrist radio for only $3.99. Now at 7 Big Penny stores, North Park, Big Town, Richardson, Casa View, and Lancaster, Keyston, Dallas, Seminary South, and Richland Hills and Fort Worth. Be the first to have one of these new toys or games and receive free trading cards and Batman rings. Hurry to Penny.
So I hope everyone has a happy Batman Day. Superfan Superplex, great to have you here. Hello, Robot B9, great to have you here as well. Mark Bosselman asks if I have my own website. My YouTube page is my website. That channel is where I spend most of my time and do most of my work. There have been in the past websites that I've, blog pages that I've worked on. But for the most part, I'd say, I haven't done anything on those pages for so long that I would say my YouTube channel is my website. Georgia Ayers, great to have you here. Finally get to see me live, and I'm so grateful that you're able to join us. I am so disheartened to hear that you were hospitalized due to COVID, and I'm so happy to hear that you're doing so much better. Get well soon, Georgia. All right, Scarlet Red Magic is here. Welcome. Good to have you with us. And Christopher Kraft is in the chat from sunny California. Let's see. Yeah, Robot B9 is coming to us from the Jupiter 2. Those fans of Lost in Space. Mickey Woodcock is here, all the way from over in the United Kingdom. Great to have you here, Mickey. So let's see. We got Lisa Fields here with us as well. Mal Havoc is here. Lamont Bradford is here. Superfan Spike Spikerson, welcome. Don't have any questions today. You know everything. You know what? I've always suspected that of you. You get to a point in life where that just kind of happens. So, but if something ever comes up, don't hesitate to throw it out. All right, Custom God is with us. Terrell Bellinger, always a pleasure. Hope you enjoyed my Diane Parkinson video, Terrell. That was based on a suggestion that you made a couple of weeks ago. And let's see. Scarlet Red Magic is asking, did I like the original Blob or the 80s remake? the original Blob. I enjoyed the 80s remake. It was okay. But the original, of course, has McQueen, has, oh my goodness, Anita, drawing a blank on her name, Helen Crump. But she was lovely in that movie. She didn't look at all like a crusty old school marm the way she looked like on the Andy Griffith show. The Daily Dan blog says, had to go watch Last Man on Earth last night. Couldn't get out of my head. Vincent Price is the man. So we were going to have a watch party last Wednesday. It did not happen. I apologize for that. I ran into technical issues with that darn video. I did not want to. In the past, when we've had watch parties, I've shared my screen using that technology that through StreamYard. But what happens is after 5 to 10 minutes, the audio gets out of sync. And so I was hoping I could upload the entire video to StreamYard and we could watch it. Sound, the audio would stay in sync, and there's some technical limitations on their end. So once I get those worked out and figure out how we're going to do it, we will go back and revisit that movie with a watch party. Right now, we're probably going to have to stick to like 30-minute videos. But yeah, it's a great movie. If you're a fan of Richard Matheson, his work, any of the other I Am Legend feature films, which was I Am Legend with Will Smith a few years back, and even before that, The Omega Man with Charlton Heston, really good stuff. So I'd recommend it, and you can watch it on YouTube. If you don't want to wait for me to have a watch party, go out there and watch it on YouTube. It's great. Superfan Kevin Walter says, hey, Dave, loved the Diane Parkinson video. Will I be doing ones on Janice and Holly? Eventually. That's the plan. All of those three. I don't know if I'm going to do... those three are, for me, those were Barker's Beauties growing up, and those will probably be the ones that I will profile. I've got a super chat I've got to get to. I know it's a bit down here, but I want to get to it before it's gone. Let's see if I can find it. It's from John Collins. Bless John, you're such a great guy. Here, let's see. Here it is. All right. John Collins says, have I seen Nickelodeon, the documentary Nickelodeon, The Orange Years? I have not. I would like to see it because I was a big fan of those early years of Nickelodeon. One show in particular called The Adventures of Pete and Pete. May you have the Dukes of Hazzard. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
I hope you like that one. Again, I apologize. It's not the Dukes of Hazzard, but we will get you one. I think it's going to be a Daisy message. I just feel like that's the way to go. But boy, I really appreciate your support. You truly are a super fan, and I appreciate all that you do and the interactions that we have. So thank you, John. All right. Let me see if I can go back up. I don't want to have missed anybody. Mr. 79 Man is here, and he asks a very simple question. Van Halen or Van Hagar? I loved both of them, but if I had to pick one, I'd probably go with Van Hagar. I know it's hard. Maria Q, welcome. Good to have you on the Twitch, on the chat, on the stream. And yeah, go get some sleep. I know it is late out there where you live. So thanks for popping in. Sakina McMurrin says, good afternoon, Dave. With that soothing tone in your voice, you can do a cornflakes commercial and make it sound relaxed. I don't know how relaxing I sound on the live streams. You know, when I put together those videos, I really spend a lot of time rehearsing it, and I just want it to sound really professional, and I eliminate all the ums, the uhs, the you-knows that sometimes I pepper my language with when I'm on the live stream. But thank you for the kind words. So, Sakina, let me put that back up for a minute. Thank you for the kind words. I truly do appreciate them. All right. Let's see. Dan Giffords here says, watching Buck Rogers as we speak. I can't think of a better thing to do. If you're going to multitask, why not watch a little Buck Rogers right there on Tubi. Tubi's a great streaming platform, free, along with Pluto TV. I've been watching a lot of Pluto TV lately. Pluto TV has a dedicated Price is Right channel, and it's all that Bob Barker era Price is Right. All right. Let me take another swig here. Got a little bit of a frog in my throat. All right. Let's see. Mike Davis is here, my friend Mike, my brother from another mother, my Bat brother. Happy Batman Day, my friend. hopefully you caught my little Batman video at the beginning of this video. Patrick Fennell, good to have you here as well. Welcome to the live stream. Raja 1938. I watched it, my friend. Ted Koppel did a piece on Mount Airy and Mayberry this morning. Here's the deal, though. It seemed like he was very interested in bringing politics into the story, and I was hoping he would keep it more just about the Andy Griffith Show and just that whole sense of, yeah, Mayberry's fictional. It's a fictional place. But Mount Airy was the influence for Mayberry. It was where Andy Griffith grew up. And so I think he could have done something a little bit different and taken it in a little bit different direction. But I enjoyed it still. I appreciate Ted Koppel's work. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Mal Havoc says Adam West was the best Batman, and Mike says yes, it is Batman Day, a very, very important day. Let us never forget that. Lisa's asking what the name of my music channel is. It is Retro Music Memories. So check it out. The latest video on that channel is about Donnie Iris and his classic song from the, I think it was early 80s, like 1980 or 81, called Ah Leah. See what else we got here. Yeah, I watched the Star Trek Day stuff as well. I'm a big Trek fan. Chrome Minion says bam pow. Son of a Red Shirt says happy Batman Day to Bob Kane and Bill Finger. I'm glad you identified them both as the creators of the Cape Crusader. And yes, there's been a legion of creators since then that have gone on to help contribute to such a wonderful character. Scarlet Red Magic says that Adam West was the best next to Michael Keaton, which, by the way, they are remaking it again with him. Well, here's what they're doing. There's a Flash movie coming out next year. Michael Keaton will be that Batman in that Flash movie, but there will be multiple Batmans in that one because there's this whole idea of a multiverse with different Earths with different Batmen on them. And who knows who will show up. There's going to be a similar kind of storyline with the new Spider-Man movie. But rumors are that Keaton is on board for doing his own Batman movie. I don't know if it's necessarily a remake or a continuation of Batman from 1989 and Batman Returns from 1982, I believe was the year that came out. So great post. Thanks for sharing that with us. Happy Batman Day to you, Scarlet Red Magic. Superplex, Superfan Superflex says, why was Adam West's career so much more successful than Burt Ward's after Batman? That's a really good question. What did Adam do to be more successful? I know that Adam was very, very hardworking, and he would take literally every role that was offered to him. He was bound and determined not to get typecast by that character. And I think whereas Adam's really focused on his entertainment career, I think Burt, from what I understand, got sidetracked, and he was involved in a number of different ventures. For a while, they were educational videos for preschoolers. And then later on, the venture that he's still heavily involved in now is dog food. And he has this special kind of dog food that he purports will help your dog to live years, if not decades longer than he or she normally would. So, but they both have had great careers. They both have had great careers and are wonderful people. Certainly Miss Adam was sad when he left us a few years back. Let's see. Oh, I'm not sure what the $3.99 is you're referring to there. $3.99, but yeah, it wouldn't be cheap if we're talking about the 80s, or even the 70s or even the 90s. $3.99 still, it's money. Oh, we're talking about the items on the Batman commercial. Yeah, definitely. That was not cheap back then. We're talking probably $20-25. Yeah, Terrell says happy Emmys Day. I don't know if I'm going to watch the Emmys tonight, but I'm definitely interested to see who wins. Definitely interested to see who wins. Let's see. Justin says, yeah, he wants a thank you message from Kit as well. We'll have to see if I can track something down. Keith E is in the house. Welcome. Should you do your Batman impression while talking like a pirate, since it's also Talk Like a Pirate Day? How about we try that? Rawr. That's horrible. Arr, I'm Batman. That's my impression of Pirate Batman. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think Tracy, superfan Tracy Rothmeyers, is referring to all the issues, technical issues I was having on Wednesday trying to get the watch party ready. It was definitely a bummer, but we will revisit it. And let's see, Terrell, I think I saw a suggestion there and it got away from me. See if I can find it again real quick. I see Emily Miller's here. Welcome, Emily. So good to have you with us. Super fan Emily Miller, I should say. Terrell says, I have a random question for you. How do you feel about the classic TV shows from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s getting rebooted for a modern audience in 2021? I'm not one to say, oh, they shouldn't do it. I am always interested in seeing what happens when they reboot the property. But I will say this. I have a bit of a skeptical eye towards all of those projects. And while I'm hopeful, I worry about what will actually happen there. So, it's one of those things. I'd rather see them be creative and make their own thing as opposed to reboot the old classic TV shows. I don't want to see a new Andy Griffith show. I don't want to see anything about Mayberry. I just want to go back and watch those old episodes of the Andy Griffith Show. They were perfection. Star Trek. You know what? As much as I love The Next Generation, and I did love The Next Generation, the original series is still the best for me. And I like The Orville, which is a riff on Star Trek, but they're doing their own thing too. It has a feeling of Star Trek, but it's not Star Trek. And I think that's pretty impressive. I see a super chat from Tracy Roth Myers, super fan Tracy Roth Myers. Let me see if I can get to that real quick. Looks like it's a super sticker. So thank you very much, Tracy. If I can find it, there's so much going on in the chat. One of these days, I'm going to see if I can get my son or someone to be a helper. Just help me out a little bit. So that he can help me find these things. It's hard to scroll through when there's so much going on in the chat. But I want to say thank you, Tracy. And let me find a message for you. Let's go with the Spider-Man one.
Someone is trying to embarrass me.
Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate the super sticker, Tracy. And of course, I appreciate your support being a super fan. Now, for those folks who are not familiar with what being a super fan is, you will see on my videos, there's a little join button there. And it's an extra step you can do when you consider whether, if you've subscribed to my channel already. Joining gives you access to a once a month super fan members only live stream. It also gives you advanced access to videos on occasion, not always, but on occasion, and it gives you prioritized response to your comments. So those are the things that you get. Plus, you get my undying love and support if you join and become a super fan. So thanks again, Tracy Roth Myers. You are freaking awesome. All right. Sakina McMurran says, Adam West was hysterical as a voice actor on Family Guy. He sure was. He played the mayor of Quahog. I think that's the way you say the town. And Quahog. And his name was Adam West. He was Mayor Adam West on the show. Superfan Superplex is saying, I eagerly look forward to the rebooted Night Court. So it's one of those things where I loved the original Night Court. I've done a number of videos on the original Night Court, and I hope that it can, I know John Larroquette's going to be in it. I hope that it can have just a smidgen of the flavor of the original. It's going to be hard because the world is a lot more PC than it used to be. Son of a Red Shirt asks, has anyone seen the Adam West cartoon Batman movies that came out a couple of years ago? The second one starred William Shatner as Harvey Dent, Two-Face. Made you wish he'd played it in the 60s. I have seen both of them. I own both of them, and I love them dearly. And I would, even though Adam West is gone, I would encourage Warner Brothers Animation to make more of those and continue to employ Burt Ward and Julie Newmar, and anyone else they can that has ties to the original series. I don't think there's many left, but those two actors at the very least. And you can find a voice actor. I know there are actors that can sound like Adam West, so they should do it. They should keep going. Those are a lot of fun. Mike Silva says, hey, you're back, Mike. Great to have you with us. He says, I hope the Munsters reboot is going to be good. I do too. Rick 9G, good old Rick 9G. If you haven't checked out his channel, you should, because he is covering the Munsters quite a bit and giving updates on the work that is being done with the reboot. It's a Rob Zombie movie, I believe, which again gives me pause and gives me a bit of concern. I like some of his music. My kid, he had this video game years ago called Sledstorm for the PS1. That's how long ago it was. So 15, maybe even longer than that, maybe 20 years ago, somewhere between that, between 15 and 20 years ago. And that was one of the first video games he played with Sledstorm. And there was a lot of Rob Zombie music on that video game. And so I came to appreciate music that I didn't think I would appreciate. But I'm not sure. Not sure how he's going to do. Yeah, Adam West voiced some of the Batman cartoons. He voiced Super Friends during the latter years of that show during the Superpowers era. And then he also did a late 70s New Adventures of Batman cartoon where he was the voice of Batman as well. Superfan Emily Miller says she does not mind reboots. And Mike Silva says the Croft Super Show for me. I'm not sure what that's reference to, but you know what? Me too. Mal Havoc asks, wasn't the Orville canceled? It was not. It moved from Fox to Hulu and will be out, I believe, in 2022 with new episodes. It was never canceled. As a matter of fact, Fox renewed it for a third season, but Seth MacFarlane decided that he wanted to take it over to Hulu. They gave him, I think, a bigger budget and more latitude to work in terms of schedule and all that kind of stuff. I think he felt like with Fox, he was on a really kind of frenetic, hectic kind of schedule. So excited to see what he does with season 3. Like I said, I've really enjoyed that show. What he has done with the Orville is it started out as this kind of funny, sophomoric, humorous sci-fi show, the first few episodes, but he really transformed it into a worthy successor of Star Trek The Next Generation. And you think there's a lot of topics that he covers in that show that much like the original Trek and Next Generation did. Chris Kraft says Star Trek The original series is the best. I won't disagree with you there, my friend. Raja 1938 points out just what I said, that it moved to Hulu. Emily Miller, superfan Emily Miller, never liked Andy Griffith. A-OK. You know what? That's the beautiful thing about television. There's just so much out there. We can find the shows we like. All right. Terrell says, Dave, can I please suggest you do a video on what happened or whatever happened to video on That's My Mama and Amen Star Clifton Davis. I will add it to my potential topics list, Terrell. Okay, we're at the 30-minute mark. Folks, I think it is time for some commercial messages. I'll be back momentarily, and we'll talk about another birthday on this day way back in 1949. See if you can figure out who I'm talking to. But here are the commercials, if I can find them. Where are they? There they are.
Charlie's Angels will return in a moment.
We're digging in. We're digging in. America's digging into Planters.
Americans who love digging into snacks dig into Planters, like Planters mixed nuts. Lots of everybody's favorite fresh roasted nuts.
Working hard and having fun. Planters nuts are America's America's number one. We're digging in. We're digging in. America's digging into Planters.
There is an inexorable force in the cosmos where time and space converge, where the here and now may be forever. An unavoidable whole, moving through space, swallowing everything in its path. Now, man is about to enter the black hole. A journey that begins where everything ends. Rated PG.
Tomorrow on 2020, Michael Jackson, a star at 10 and a superstar at 19. How does he keep his head straight in an unreal world? Plus, an update on Elvis's death. Is there a cover-up? And millions of fans await the arrival of the Enterprise. Tomorrow on 2020.
Battlestar Galactica receives a visitor from beyond all galaxies.
This man is some kind of a god.
Demonic messiah with the power of life and death. Then the world premiere movie that tells what it really takes.
Not just sex.
To be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
Tomorrow on ABC.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that selection of commercials from 1979. Yep, 1979. A great year for motion pictures. I saw a lot of talk in the chat around the Black Hole movie. An interesting movie that I really wanted to love more than eventually I did. I watched it again about a month ago just because it had been probably 10, 15 years since I'd seen it, and I needed to be reminded of it. Ultimately, I feel like the ending of that movie is rather unsatisfying, but it does leave a lot open to speculation, and that's kind of fun. So that Levi's commercial too, my thoughts on the Levi's commercial is I love that commercial. I thought it was really revolutionary in terms of the animation that was going on there. I think there was a lot of computers that were used to create that type of animation. Maybe not. Well, I have no idea other than it just really looked impressive to me. But I remember buying Levi's when I was in high school, and I always wanted to get the button fly shrink to fit. And gosh darn it, if I could, it seemed like once they were actually washed, they never fit right. I know that was the idea. You washed them and then they started to fit better and better with each wash, but I struggled with those darn things. So, all right. Let me keep going. I'm just going to scroll to the end of the chat. I see Kimberly Wiederhold here. Welcome. I see Daryl Johnston as well. Good to have you as part of our live stream today. James Bodner Chuck's here. He says, I saw the Black Hole on its release, as did I. James, I was just a couple days in when I went to see it at I think it was the Regency's Theater out here. Let's see what else we have. I see conversation about the movie Deep Throat. Emily, we shall not go down that path today. We'll leave that up for other channels to discuss. Exorcist 3 was genuinely creepy and interesting. I haven't seen it. I must admit to that. Crazy Horse says, I watched The Black Hole and thought it was so cheesy. When the old robot sacrificed himself, I almost cried. That was the voice of Slim Pickens as Old Bob in that. And Roddy McDowell was the voice of the robot Vincent in that program. Terrell says, wasn't The Black Hole Disney's attempt to capitalize on the success of Star Wars? Indeed, it was. It's a different movie, but there's definitely influence. Star Wars had influences. Cute robots, cute androids was one of the things that it definitely influenced. And it probably wouldn't have gotten made, at least by Disney, if Star Wars hadn't been so successful. Mal Havoc says they had a toy line for the Black Hole. I remember that, Mal Havoc. Oh, Liz Radio says, Dave, thoughts on Halloween 1978? So Halloween, the John Carpenter movie that came out in 1978, loved it. Thought it was a great movie. The music was creepy as all get out. It was suspenseful. It was violent, but without being overly gory. An excellent John Carpenter movie. I haven't really liked any of the sequels, including Halloween 2, which Carpenter produced. Well, I think he's had a hand in producing all of them, but really the original Halloween I thought was an excellent movie. Emily Miller says horror just isn't scary anymore. Yeah, it's more gory than scary. Lance Chafin, superfan Lance Chafin. And did I say superfan Emily Miller? I should. Superfan Emily Miller. Superfan Lance Chafin says Halloween's a classic. Superfan Tracy Rothmeyer says I never really liked Star Wars. Raja 1938 came or says met Linda Blair at a Comic-Con. When she signs an autograph, she draws a little caricature of herself turning her head around. That's awesome. Love that. Thanks for sharing. And yes, Deep Throat was, of course, the the anonymous informant that Woodward and Bernstein relied upon for much of their information that led to the whole Watergate conspiracy, or Watergate, whatever you want to call it. All the issues that Nixon had, unfortunately. Let's see. Keith E. says, I'm sure you've been asked this before, but do you ever randomly hear from the people you do videos on or on after you do one? Yeah, from time to time. It's not very often that I do. Terry Copley, when I did the video on her, she reached out via the comments section. Kathy Garver reached out to me, Sissy, on Family Affair, and actually she helped me make a video on her. I really appreciated that. She was a fan of some of the other Family Affair videos that I had made. And then I'm drawing a blank on the actress's name, Rebecca from Knight Rider. She reached out to me after I had made a video and asked for a correction to be made. And I was happy to oblige. I'm always happy to oblige when someone asks if I can make a correction. I did the same thing for the guy that played Mr. Edwards. Holy cow, was in Carter Country. Anyway, his daughter reached out to me for a correction on a video that I had done about him and Michael Landon. It's horrible when I know someone's name and I can't think of it on the spot. Horrible, horrible. Liz Radio says, thoughts on Chrissy Snow, Suzanne Summers. I personally think that she had asked for equal pay for females because at the time many people back then enacting underpaid females. But what do you think happened? I think it's a combination of things. I think she was underpaid. I think Joyce DeWitt was underpaid. They deserve to be paid what John Ritter. I tell you, it's getting harder and harder. The older I get, John Ritter was getting paid. I think he wasn't that much bigger of a star than those two. Yes, he had some roles in like the Waltons and things like that prior to Three's Company, but he wasn't that much bigger of a star. So I think they deserve to be on par with Ritter's, if not equal, just slightly below that. But I believe they were getting paid dramatically less. I do think greed came into it as well, though. I think Suzanne Summers listened to her husband / manager and got bad advice, and because of that, ultimately left the show. And I think that's too darn bad. So I think it's complex. I do think asking for equal pay for females, if all things are equal, is the right thing to do. I think they probably could have gone about it a better way than they did. Kimberly Wiederhold says, I'm not into horror. I like to be frightened, not grossed out. I agree with that. Thank you so much, Victor French. Of course, Victor French. Rebecca Holden was the other person I was talking about. You guys always come through for me. Thank you so much. The Raiders won today. Nice. Good to hear, Lamont. And let's see. Liz Radio says, and Suzanne wouldn't have gotten to be such a success on Broadway after Three's Company. That's true. That's true. We do have another super chat from John Collins, who says, please add Thrash Pondo Pawns as a permanent regular on your live streams. He is hilarious. So I totally agree with you. And as of a couple of weeks ago, I think I started including Thrash Pondo on my weekly invite list. So he does get the link to attend and be a guest. And it's just up to him at this point whether he shows up. What I do is I send out the link to a variety of people, and then, no one's obligated to attend, and then I see who shows up. So I'd love to have Thrash join me. He's not only is he hilarious, but he is a fountain of information, a super sharp guy that knows his retro pop culture trivia. So thank you very much. Let me see what I can come up with for you. How about I redid the Shatner one so that the vocals are louder. Let's pull a little Bill Shatner here.
No, I thank you. And again, I thank you.
And again, I thank you, John Collins, as always. Superfan John Collins, love the support. Yeah, as Superfan Superplex says, T-Pons is a YouTube legend. Indeed, he is. Son of a Red Shirt says, has anyone seen John Ritter in Blake Edwards' Skin Deep? I have. And yes, does anyone remember the Star Wars homage? I certainly do. It was interesting, to say the least. Yeah, Just Incognito is referring to that homage. The Skin Deep glow-in-the-dark scene is one of the funniest things ever on film. Sure, yeah, it definitely made me laugh. Let's see. Lisa says, I remember in the 80s when Levi's were a big trend. Mr. 79 Man says, good movie, start me up. Video is great. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Todd Anthony points out, welcome to the live stream, Todd, that Tom Selleck was originally supposed to be Indiana Jones. Indeed he was. Indeed he was. All right, so I mentioned earlier that there is another birthday today. It is none other than Randy Mantooth's birthday. Born in 1945, went on to fame in the television series Emergency. I thought I'd share a video with you about Randy Mantooth, and I will be back shortly. Emergency was part of an extended universe, which included the 60s version of Dragnet, along with Adam 12. In fact, some members of the Emergency cast, including Randolph Mantooth, showed up on Adam 12 prior to Emergency's premiere. Once it debuted, I really enjoyed Emergency. Each episode moved at a really decent clip, and while some of the show's attempts at humor sometimes felt forced, the authenticity of the program was never in doubt. The series aimed to be a realistic portrayal of emergency medical services, and pioneering EMS leader James O. Page served as technical advisor. Additionally, the two main actors, Kevin Tighe and Randolph Mantooth, they were actually required to attend paramedic training so that they could more accurately reflect the highly skilled EMS officers that were DeSoto and Gage. These guys pretty much became pop culture icons during the 70s, so much so that one of my favorite bands, The Tubes, made it a point to include Mantooth in the lyrics to their classic song, What Do You Want From Life? So, what the heck happened to Randy Mantooth? Well, truthfully, the guy never left us. After Emergency, Mantooth made a ton of guest star appearances on a number of TV shows, including Charlie's Angels, Fantasy Island, The Fall Guy, Dallas, Murder, She Wrote, and even L.A. Law. And then in the late 80s, Randy moved to New York and began a lengthy career working on various soap operas, including Loving, One Life to Live, As the World Turns, and my favorite of the bunch, General Hospital.
A conniving businessman.
You're the boss. Not for long.
A charming fellow.
I'd like to see you again.
A cunning husband.
I'm not finished with you, lady.
Clay Alden.
He is unfeeling and suave and handsome.
Loving it his way, weekdays.
And just in case you're wondering, he remains great friends with Kevin Tighe in real life. The chemistry between the men who played Gage and DeSoto was real. In fact, Tighe served as best man at Mantooth's second marriage in 2002. The quick trip over to his official website reveals that he has become something of an unlikely icon for those who make fire service and emergency medical services their career.
Now to news on the 83rd Shenandoah Apple Blossom Festival. Today, festival organizers announced that actor and fire and rescue activist Randolph Mantooth would serve as the 2010 Firefighters Marshal.
He has been speaking at industry conferences since 1986. Randy's message is uplifting and heartfelt and recalls his more than 40 years of close relationships with firefighters, paramedics, and EMTs. So there you go. Leave your thoughts in the comments section, and while you're at it, if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate a thumbs up. And what the heck? Why not consider subscribing to my little YouTube channel? I talk about music, movies, and television, mostly from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Yeah, so lots of comments about Randy Mantooth, while we were watching that video. Loved them. And I love this one. Mike Davis says, I loved emergencies as a kid. At one point, I wanted to be a paramedic because of that show. You know, that show really helped to inspire a ton of people to be paramedics. And because it's realistic take on paramedics, it inspired a host of individuals to go out there and really, I mean, talk about what a great occupation, underpaid in my opinion, but what a great career to take on. So thanks to everybody who has ever been a paramedic, or if you know anyone, I'm truly appreciative of their efforts. Much like nurses. Dominic D says Jack Webb from Dragnet produced Emergency. Sure did. And then the spinoff, there was a question earlier about, wasn't there an animated version? Yep, called Emergency Plus 4. I also had a question from Justin Eilert, who said, Dave, do I remember the short-lived show ER with Elliot Gould? Sure do. Didn't last long, like you said, short-lived. A comedy, not a drama like the ER that was on NBC. This one, I believe, was on CBS. Lamont Bradford says, how about an emergency trivia one of these Wednesdays? How about we do that one next? That sounds like a good one. I wouldn't mind doing that. Liz Radio asks, when am I premiering a new video? Today. I've had it out for the super fans to watch for a few hours. I think I posted it last night for them, and it will debut later on today. It is on... It's a revisiting of Eleanor Donahue. I'm a big fan of her work, and so I took the time to really create a whole new video on Eleanor Donahue and her career, and focusing, of course, a little bit on the time that she was on the Andy Griffith Show and why she left that show. All right, Superfan Superplex says, thumbs up. Yes, folks, if you haven't already, please do me the honor.
Hey folks, if you're enjoying this live stream, be like the Fonz and give it a thumbs up. Hey.
Truly would appreciate it. Truly, truly, truly. Let's see what else we got. Mal Havoc says that they had action figures based on Emergency. They sure did. I remember. And they had a really cool lunchbox. A really cool lunchbox. Let's see. Referring to Eleanor Donahue, Crow Minion says, wish she'd been able to stay on the show. I sure do too. I think the show suffered from her departure. And Christopher Kraft says, loved Eleanor Donahue. And Dominic D says she was great on The Odd Couple. She sure was, as Felix's girlfriend, Miriam. And yes, I talk about both The Odd Couple and Get a Life in the video. She played Chris's mother in Get a Life. I love Get a Life, which is essentially, think of it this way, the adventures of Dennis the Menace grown up. Son of a Red Shirt says Victor French was Michael Landon's best friend on Highway to Heaven, as well as Little House on the Prairie, where Merlin Olsen left the series. Yes. Well, Merlin Olsen actually came on after Victor French left the first time. And then, of course, Merlin left. He had his own Father Murphy TV show, and Victor French came back after Carter Country was canceled on ABC, and reprised his role as Mr. Edwards on those final seasons of Little House on the Prairie. Tracy Roth Myers asks, do I watch General Hospital? Not anymore. I watched it when I was a kid in the summertime. I was particularly caught up in the whole Luke and Laura thing. I watched it with my sister. She's 10 months younger than me, and she was really into it, and it was a great way to bond with her. Let's see. Mike Davis says, gotta say, I love this community. Feels like I'm hanging out with childhood friends that I watched a bunch of beloved shows from a long time ago. As do I, Mike. Thank you. I couldn't have said it better. That's one of the reasons I love doing these live streams. Absolutely love reading all the comments. So much so that when I'm done here, I've shared this with you guys before, but when I'm done here, once YouTube's finished with all the processing and the stuff they do with the live stream, I can go back and I can watch it. And part of me hates watching me talk and all that kind of stuff, because I hear all these moments where I stumble over my words or I can't remember things, that kind of stuff. But I love reading the chat, and I'll just scroll through and read the chat. And it's just great conversation. James Bodnerchuk says, I remember as a kid, I loved the show SWAT. What a great theme song, right? What a great theme song. Terrell Bellinger says, saw the trailer for The Eyes of Tammy Faye. That could be interesting and could be a very campy biopic. Absolutely. Much in the spirit of Mommy Dearest. Interesting. Yeah, Mal Havoc points out that Eleanor was also on an episode of Star Trek, and I hit on that in the video as well. So you guys are hitting all the high points that I cover. So that's great. Let's see. I hope everybody saw my friend Pat McCormick's latest compilation video on Get Smart. It's awesome. Check it out if you get a chance. Let me just quickly throw this up here for everybody to take a gander so you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about my friend Pat McCormick. Pat McCormick, but Golden Rage of TV is the name of his channel. And he just dropped, I think yesterday, he dropped a new compilation video on Get Smart that is phenomenal. I posted a link to it in the community section. Definitely check it out. All right, let me get back to the comments here. Let's keep going. Emily Miller says, any chance of Dick Van Dyke trivia show? Okay, I got Emergency and Dick Van Dyke. Those are the next two. Anytime a super fan requests something, I'm going to give that priority. So I'll go back. If I'll have to go back and see. I can't remember who made the emergency request, but we will cover both of them in the next few weeks. Thank you so much, Emily. As always, I appreciate your support. Zuperplex says, regardless of your religious beliefs, Tammy Faye's ending was sad. I agree with that. Yep. I'll leave it at that. Emily Miller, superfan Emily Miller says, I love to Get Smart. And Kimberly Wiederhold says, I hated Get a Life. Yeah, it's one of those things where you either love it or you hate it, right? That's the thing about TV. I mentioned it earlier when Emily said she didn't love the Andy Griffith Show. Yeah, my heart did break a little bit, but I still recognize that, you know what? It's not for everybody. It's not a show for everybody. We all come into, when we choose entertainment, when we find entertainment that resonates with us, it's because of our unique experiences, our perspective that we have. And so not everything that I like, you guys are going to like. Hopefully, there's a whole, there's a bunch of stuff that where we overlap in terms of the shows we like. And I think it's because we are of a particular generation, right? Like Mike Davis said earlier, it's like talking to just a bunch of buddies about shows. We're not going to like everything that we won't agree on everything, but there's a whole heck of a lot that we will agree on. What do I think of Quincy? Loved watching Quincy when I was a kid. I'm a big fan of Jack Klugman. I do not like Three's a Crowd for a lot of different reasons. I thought it was just bland. I did not think it was funny. And I think sadly, there was a huge missed opportunity for them to do something with Jack and Janet. I've made a video about that in the past, so I won't say anything else about that. Mike says, anybody remember the Mary Tyler Moore Show? Debuted on this day back in 70 or 71. I can't remember. But yes, of course. Ed Asner was on that show, as well as a host of great actors, Ted Knight, Betty White, just great stuff. Mike Davis says, laugh out loud. I used to watch General Hospital with my grandmother during the summers. I'd memorize the day shows and relay it to her when she got home from work. Oh, for your grandmother. So you'd watch it and then tell her what happened. That is awesome, because obviously back then, not everybody had a VCR back then. It took forever. I think it was like 86, 87 before we had a VCR in the Sunstrom home. Let's see. Justin says, Dave, it always got me mad that when Don Knotts first appeared on Three's Company, the episode New Landlord, there was no extended audience clapping. Yeah, there should have been. Good point. Truly good point. Hey, let's see what we can do here. I just want to say thank you to all those folks that are super fans. And I'm going to pull out the old Steve Martin song.
Now, it's time for a little dance, and here we go.
All right. I love the way he ends that. It's just, intelligible what he just said, but okay, blue, 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 whatever that was. But what I want to say is to everybody that has stepped up and become a member of the channel, a super fan, thank you very much. Truly appreciate your support. All right, folks, we are at 57 minutes. I'm going to wind this thing down. Let me see if there's any other comments. There's a lot, and I'm not going to get to everything here, but I do like to keep my Sunday social hour to exactly that, an hour. So I want to, let's see. We've got a comment here. Dominic D says, I agree with Terrell. Get a Life was definitely ahead of its time. Absolutely. Mr. 79 Man says, did I like Arnold Jackson? Sure. Gary Coleman, what a sweet kid. Kind of sad the way his life ended up dying young here out in the great state of Utah. Very sad. Liz Radio says, Dave, do these live streams stay up? Yes, you can watch replay of this live stream. I'll post a link in the community section, but you can go over to my channel and find the live stream there. They stay active for 30 days, and then they revert to a members only archive where super fans have access to everything that goes back for the past couple of years. But yeah, you definitely have access to the live stream and can watch it later on at your leisure as many times as you want. Daryl Johnson says, I met and chatted with Jeannie Francis at the Atlanta airport. Very pretty girl and really sweet. That's awesome to hear. Mike Davis also loved SWAT and played it with his brothers. That's cool. We used to play SWAT as well. Lance Chafin says, do a Knight Rider live stream. I will indeed. I've got that request somewhere written down already. Let's see. Dobie Gillis was indeed fun. Loved the show. Of course, I'm a big Bob Denver fan. I am a big Bob Denver fan. Oh, holy cow. You know what? I'm glad this came up. There's a super chat here from my friend Mike Davis. Let me find it real quick. There it is. It looks like a super sticker. Thank you, Mike. Like I said, I definitely feel like he's a brother from another mother. Check out Mike if you folks get a chance. Check out his stuff out on Facebook. He is he's a very spiritual feller. And while he knows he can talk, circles around me on a lot of stuff when it comes to pop culture and TV trivia, he also can talk circles around me about some other things that probably are of greater importance in this world. And I would say that I have found myself listening to some of Mike's. He has some little mini sermons and things that he puts out there on Facebook. Very inspirational and uplifting. And I'd encourage you to read or look for Mike Davis out on Facebook and like his the stuff that he's doing out there. So let me find. Yes, we're going to do the Welk as this live stream is coming to a close. We're going to do a little Lawrence Welk action for my friend Mike Davis.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me. Thank you very, very, very much.
All right, folks. And with that, I'm going to say thank you again to Mike Davis for his support. And thank you to everybody here for the engagement, the wonderful conversation over the course of the last hour. It has been phenomenal. And it's just so much fun to visit with like-minded souls and talk about, music, movies, and mostly TV from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. I like to call it the good stuff. So, folks, thanks again. I hope you have an awesome Sunday, and we'll talk to you soon.